5.6, the standard form of a linear equation. And right here they give you the standard form. And we have that written on our note card. AX plus BY equals C. Now on your note card we have the 5 steps. Step number 1, find the slope if it isn't given to you. Step number 2, substitute in for the point slope form for the M, the Y1, the X1. Then do the distributive property, solve for Y equals MX plus B. Then there's only one more thing you have to do after that step to get it into standard form, and that's to get the X, because the X, when it's in Y equals MX plus B form, the only difference between this and standard form is the X has to be over here in front of the Y. We just have to rearrange it. So if it's a positive over here, it's going to be a negative over here. If it's a negative X over here, it's going to be a positive X over there. And notice the X has to come first, then the Y, then whatever your B was. All right? So that is in standard form. Just quick little practices right here. Y equals a negative 2x plus 3. Rearrange that. What would I have to do? Because this would be like on your note card, we've already done steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now all we have is this equation in what kind of form? These are all in slope-intercept form, so now I have one more thing to do, and it would be what, Bella? Add the 2x, and that moves it over here. So now I have 2x, this is a plus y or 1y, however you want to write it, equals 3. I should have wrote that lower. 2x plus 1y equals 3. And now I can circle that answer right there because I'm done. And there's 2 reasons why I'm done. Never circle your answer and think you're done unless, number 1, in order to be done, like you wrote on your note card, it has to be what? What has to be? Yeah. The X has to be positive. And before I know that's my final answer, what else? There can be, what's that final thing on your note card?
All the decimals and fractions are clear.
Right. You have to clear or get rid of all fractions and decimals. And in this case, are there any fractions or decimals in the standard form equation? No. Nope. So we were done. We circled it. All right. How about here? What do I do? Minus 4x to both sides. So out loud together, what's my new standard form? Equals a negative 7. Am I done?
No.
Why?
Negative x.
Absolutely. I cannot have a negative x. So you have to divide everything by not a negative 4. We don't need to divide by what the number is. Just divide everything by a negative 1. Because what does that do? Yep. It changes the sign. And now we have a negative divided by a negative. That turns into a positive 4x. A positive divided by a negative is a, now we have a negative y instead of a positive. And we now have a positive 7 instead of a negative 7. And I can circle it because there are no fractions or decimals. One more quick little practice before we go on. Because this is how you have to do the first few problems on your worksheet. Right here is how you do those. All right? So what do I do, class? On this number 3 example.
Minus 1 times almost 7.
Nice. Minus 1/2 x. So now I have a negative 1/2 x plus y equals
3.
Yep, 3. Done?
No. Divide everyone by negative 1.
Yeah, this fails miserably. It's negative and it has a fraction. So first off, let's just get rid of our negative signs. By dividing everything by a negative 1, this turns into a positive 1/2 x. What does this turn into? A minus y or a negative y, same thing. equals what?
-3.
A -3. We change all the signs. Now, the big question, who remember, easy for me to say, who remembers how to clear a fraction?
Top divided by bottom.
That would be turning it into a decimal. That's clearing a fraction into a decimal, I guess.
Take it times the denominator.
You are correct. Okay, so I'm going to write underneath it. What are the, because we have to take everything times something. So there's my 3 terms, right? Now the coefficient here is 1/2. What's the coefficient to a negative y?
Constant. Constant.
Coefficient.
Coefficient would be 1.
The 1. The coefficient is a 1, so it's a 1. How do I turn a whole number 1 into a fraction?
Over 1.
So that one's 1 over 1, right? How about a -3? -3 over 1. There, now I have my fractions. My denominators are 2, 1, and 1. What's my least common denominator?
2.
2. So we have to multiply everything times 2, or 2 over 1. Well, those cancel out and leave me with?
1.
Yep, because 1 over 1. So now this turns into a 1x, because we just cleared this. This turns into a 1. Now what's a -1 times 2 over 1?
2.
You get a -2 over 1, which is? What?
Y.
Or you're multiplying it by a 2. What's 1 times 2? And it's negative, so yep, -2y equals, and then what's a -3 times 2?
6.
-6. We just cleared that fraction. And we'll have another practice. If that was a little too fast, we have another practice. But let me just throw one more example out here with a decimal. What if I end up in standard form? 3.1x plus 3y equals 3.14. I can't have decimals. It's not negative, so I don't have to worry about dividing by a -1, but I need to clear my decimals. What would I multiply by in this case? Raise your hand if you remember. What would you do?
Multiply by 100.
She says multiply by 100. I agree. Because if you multiply it by 100, that moves your decimal to the right how many times? Twice. Well, this one would only have to go once, though. This one is a whole number, your decimal's here. I wouldn't even have to move that one to make it a whole number. How many would I have to move it here? Twice. So remember, when we clear the decimals, you have to take the biggest one. Which one do we have to move the most? Right, so we had to move it twice, so she said take it times 100. That'll move your decimal twice. But you can't, you have to move it twice in all of them then, not just that one. So what does this turn into? 3.1 times 100?
310.
Good. 310x plus,
300.
yep, 300
Y.
y equals
314.
314. Now we're done. We cleared the decimal. All right? Now, there's only 2 other things we need to go over quick right here. And this also was off to the side. That's that side thing over on your note card. We needed to know that on a vertical line, anytime you have a vertical line, right here, this one is a vertical line, it'll look like that. Anytime we have a vertical line, it has what kind of slope? Yep, it's an undefined slope. You don't know what it is. So it's always, if you have a graph and it's going straight up and down, you can't write that in point slope form. You can't put it in standard form. There's only one way we can write the equation of that line, and it is what?
0.
Say this is at a 3.
X equals 3.
Exactly, because this is the x-axis, right? Does it not intersect the x-axis? So what is this? X equals 3. Done. Don't even have to do steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you know the slope is undefined, it's automatically x equals some sort of number. Now if we have a horizontal slope, that has a slope of 0. So what does that mean? If I have a coordinate plane and I have it going through, say here, and this is at the 4. How can I write that equation? There's only one way I can do it, and it is what?
Y equals 4.
Yep. Y equals 4. Done. You can't do all those steps. So if you get the horizontal, if you get anything when that number 1 step, when you do number 1, if the slope's given to you, you have to find it. If you end up with an undefined slope or a 0 slope, woohoo! You don't even have to worry about the rest of the steps. Because you'll either go x equals a number or y equals a number. You'd be done. Those are the easy ones. Let's jump ahead to example number 2 and see what we come up with then. That's what we were just talking about. Now if you look at that, here's your there's your coordinate plane. Here's a line. And then this is the other one they're talking about. This is x, this is y. What kind of slope does this one have?
Horizontal.
This one has a 0 slope. What kind of slope here? Undefined. Now that would be represented like 4 over what? 0. Anything over 0 is undefined. So let's write the equation for this one. What will it be? X or y equals?
X equals.
X equals, or does it go through the x?
4.
Or does it go through the x at? 4. How about this one? This one will be,
-2.
oops, I'm on the wrong one. This one here. X or y equals?
Y.
Y equals, or does it go through the y? -2. Those are your easy ones that you want to watch for. All right, go right here, please. We're going to do these. We're going to do number 2 together, and then we'll do the next 3 together for today. First thing I want to do is label my x and my y. How many steps am I going to have to do? It says write the standard form of the equation that passes through. I have to do all 5 steps today. And you've already practiced that extra one on those first 3 examples that we did together on the first page. So now this is actually doing all the steps. Number 1, do I have to find the slope?
No.
Nope, they give it to me. So there's my m. So in your point slope form, y minus what?
-1.
A -1 or -1 equals 0 times x minus 4. All right, we just substituted in our numbers for the m, the y1, the x1. Now we simplify. Y minus a -1 is?
Y plus 1.
Y plus 1 equals 0, do our distributive property, 0x minus 0. Woo! Do we write that with 0x minus 0?
No.
No. So this is basically just y plus 1 equals, there's nothing there, you can just put 0 because it's just all 0 there. Now I have to get it in y equals mx plus b form. What do I get? What do I have to
Y
do?
equals -1.
So y equals a -1. Show me with your arm, what kind of line does that make? Not a slanted one. It's either going to be a horizontal or a vertical. Which one? Horizontal, exactly. So on your, it would be going down here somewhere in there at a -1. Y equals a -1. Okay? So we can't even do the standard form on that one. It's done. That is it. It's done. All right, let's go to this next page. Number 4. Here I have an x, a y, an x, and a y. Number 1, I have to find the slope. What do we get when we find our slope?
6 over 0.
I'm sorry, what?
6 over 0.
6 over 0, because 7 minus 1
6.
and 3 minus 3, you end up with, oops, 7, I give you the answer, my bad. 7 minus 1 is 6 over 0. And what kind of a slope is that? Undefined? What does that tell me? I don't have to do the rest of the steps, do I? So if it's undefined, what kind of a x or y equals?
X.
X equals, what does my x equal?
6.
Really? Look at my ordered pairs up here. What are my, yeah, my x here is a 3, my x here, they're the same. My x is a 3. So there's my, that's all I can do on that kind. You wishing the whole worksheet was that easy, right?
Yeah.
All right, now let's get down to the good ones. This is where you'll have, on the back, you have like 5 or so like this. First thing I need to do is find the slope. So everybody find their slope so we make sure we're all working with the right slope. Hey, blurt it. What do you get for your slope?
1.
All right, because this ends up being -7 over -7, which equals 1. That's my m. So now I've done step number 1. Step number 2, substitute my numbers. Which ordered pair do you want to use? The -2, -4, or the 5, 3?
5, 3.
I figured you'd pick that because there's no negatives. I would too. So good job. So let's substitute in y minus what?
3.
3, because that's my y, equals, what's my x?
1.
Or excuse me, my m?
1.
1 times x minus
5.
5. Simplify. Y minus 3 here. Use my distributive property. What does this side become?
1x plus
1x?
1x minus 5.
Or minus 5.
1x, I agree. And 1 times a -5 is? -5. All right. Now we have to take it into what kind of form? Slope-intercept form. So what do? Get my 3 over here. That cancels out. So now I have y equals 1x minus 2. Now that's where we would have stopped on our worksheet yesterday, right? Now here, for today, one more step. What do I need to move?
Minus 1x.
Yes, minus the 1x. We got to get that over here. So now I got a minus 1x plus y equals what?
-2.
-2. Done, right?
No.
Ooh, impressive. Why not?
Negative
X.
Right, I still have a negative x here. I can't have a negative, so I divide everything by a -1. Changes the sign, so my final answer is now what?
1x minus y equals -2.
Equals
2.
positive 2. Now we're done. Nice catch. Good job. Questions on that problem?
Could you just leave it x minus y equals 2?
Yep, you can have the 1x there or just x. It wouldn't get counted wrong either way. I could have a 1 here too if I wanted. All right, either one is correct. All right, now we have this one. Everybody find their slope first so we make sure we're all working with the correct slope. What do we get? Leave it as an improper fraction, remember. Don't turn it into a mixed number.
10 over 3.
10 over 3.
A 10 over -3 or a -10 over 3?
Both.
Aha, good. Either one. It's a negative and 10 over 3. As long as you only have one negative somewhere, it can be in the front, bottom, whatever. Let's just leave it with the numerator. So we got a -10 over 3. That's our what?
Slope.
That's our slope, our m. Which ordered pair do you want to use? Left or right?
Right.
Who wants left? Who wants right? More people want right. Okay, so we'll use this one right here for our x and our y. So tell me what to write, class.
Y minus negative 2
Y minus a minus.
Good.
equals negative 10/3 parentheses x minus 2.
Plus 2. Minus.
It's y plus 2.
What do you want?
Minus 2.
So is this correct? Minus a minus 2, my y? Yep, that's a minus 2. X, what's my x though? Plus 2. All right. Now that we've got that correct, simplify by doing what properties?
Distributive.
Distributive. And let's simplify this side. This side turns into y plus 2 equals negative 10/3 x. A negative times a positive is a negative. What is 10 over 3 times 2 over 1? Negative 20 over 3. Now we get to do the fractions that you all love so much. What do I have to do?
Minus 2.
I have to minus 2 because we got to get it into y equals mx plus b form. And I have to minus a 2 here. That's like minus 2 over 1. So now y equals a negative 10 over 3x. What do I get when I have a negative 20 over 3 minus 2 over 1? What do I do in order to get an answer here? Negative 20 over 3 and a negative 2 over 1.
Common denominator.
And my common denominator would be what?
3.
Would be 3. So that one doesn't change, does it? This stays what on top?
Negative 20.
Negative 20. Now this one will turn to
Negative 6.
negative 6. So what do a negative 20 and a negative 6 give me?
26 over 3.
Negative 26 over 3. Can that be simplified? This should be minus 26 over 3. Good. Now one last thing to do is what? Yep, I need to get this over here. And how do I do that? Plus 10 over 3x, right? So now this turns into 10 over 3x. Then what? Plus my y, or my 1y, equals a negative 26 over 3. Done?
No.
Because why?
Fractions.
Cannot have that fraction, so I need to clear it. What am I going to multiply everything by? What's my common denominator here?
3.
So multiply everything times 3, or 3 over 1. What do I get here then? Those cancel out. That equals
10.
10x. Then what?
Plus 1 y.
No. We have to multiply this times 3 also. Plus 3y equals, what's this times 3? This makes a 1, this makes a 1. Negative 26. Now we're done. Because we had to multiply that by 3 also. Every term has to be multiplied by 3. Even this 1y has to be multiplied by the 3.
Where'd you get negative 26 from?
Because we had to multiply this. It's negative 26 over 3. And you take negative 26 over 3 times 3, or 3 over 1. 3 goes into here once. 3 goes into here once. You have a negative 26 over 1, which is the same as negative 26. You're welcome. All right, any other questions? All right, practice then. Your worksheet looks like this. How do I do number 1? This is x minus y minus 9 equals 0. Write the equation in standard form. All I have to do is rearrange these on this page. What do I do? So I'd have to get the 9 over here. So that leaves me with
X minus
What's that?
X minus y equals 9.
Equals 9. That one would be done. What would I have to do here? This is negative 4y plus 6x plus 7 equals 0.
Minus 7.
Yep, minus 7 first. So now I have a negative 4y plus 6x equals a negative 7. Done?
No.
Divide by negative 1?
Yes.
No.
No. I said that.
What do I need to do?
You need to subtract 6.
Nope.
Move 6.
What do you mean move the 6?
It's not, it's supposed to be
Yes.
in the front.
Flip it, because this needs, the x has to come first. Do I have to change the sign? No, because it's already on the left side of the equal sign. I didn't move it across the equal sign. I'm just flipping orders around here. So I'm going to put that positive 6x here, then minus my 4y equals a negative 7. Now am I done? Yeah, now I'm done. It's in the right order. So it's just a flipping game on the front page.